Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Chandiskar for inviting me to be at this great session. I came in at the end of the last session, and I would hope to have our portion be as animated as the last one clearly was. I think it's we have a very great story to talk about with Indigo Airlines, and we have some exciting challenges ahead. Let me start just by talking a little bit about the history of the company. The company was founded really by two visionaries who had a great deal of experience in the airline sector. Sorry if you can't hear me. Mr. Rahul Bhatia, who is from Interglobe. He has long experience working in the travel sector, a variety of investments in travel-related products, and clearly knows the secret to being successful doing business in India. And the other co-founder, Mr. Rakesh Gangwal, who currently resides in Washington, D.C., who has long experience in the airline sector. I first worked with him back in the 80s. When he was at United Airlines, he went on to become chairman of U.S. Airways, chairman of one of the global distribution systems, WorldSpan, very, very knowledgeable. And the two of them got together and founded Indigo Airlines based on what was a very simple principle, and I think it comes from a lot of experience in the airline industry. They realized that what the customer is primarily looking for are essentially three simple things. Low fares, on time, have the airline be on time, and simple, courteous, hassle-free service. And the concept of the airline is if you deliver those things, that's what consumers are really looking for, and it will be successful. And Indigo, since its inception 12 years ago, has stayed very loyal to those principles. I mean, every day I talk to people and they tell me, oh, I really like Indigo because you're always on time. And every time they say that, I'm just, so proud that, look, we are delivering on this principle that the company was founded on. Certainly, we are comfortably delivering low fares. I mean, if you look at what's happened to the level of fares in India since Indigo was founded, in real terms, adjusted for inflation, average airfares in India have gone down by about 50% in that period of time. So, it's really been a great success story for the traveling public in India. The success that the company has brought, in my introduction, I talked about how the company has thrived during some difficult times, and certainly, we've had a lot of success with basic measures of profit and financial success. But I would tell you that I measure success of the company in other ways, and I think Indigo is essentially changing transportation in India, sort of airplane by airplane with every airplane delivery, and it's really exciting to see how as we bring this really fast growth of airplane deliveries into the country, and we start connecting cities with air travel that have really never had air travel before, how passengers frankly sort of come out of nowhere. I was talking to someone earlier today about how we plan markets, and frankly, if you look at some of these cities where there's never been service, today you've got two very large cities. The only transportation between them would be a train travel or by car or bus that takes multiple days. And we really have no idea how many people are actually traveling between these cities. So then we'll put in a flight between them, and we turn a multi-day travel into a 2-hour or less flight. And all of a sudden we find that there are literally thousands of people who are traveling, who want to travel in this sector. Next thing you know, we're able to add a second flight and a third flight. And I think as Indigo continues to grow and builds up our service, what we're doing is really changing the way people travel in India, and it's very exciting to be part of that. The other way I look at success is we currently have about almost 20,000 employees, And frequently I get the opportunity to go to the graduating class of our flight attendants or our pilot graduating class. Or yesterday, I went to meet with our employees in Kochi who are recovering from this terrible floods. And I feel like the company is changing lives with so many of these employees for the better. I hear their stories and how we've hired somebody and brought them into a job, and we're providing really good employment opportunities to now almost 20,000 people and more in the future. And I feel like it's a great responsibility that weighs very heavily on the leadership of the company. So I feel like we are very, very much responsible for for their success. And I worry a lot about we just need to keep being successful because so many people are depending on us. So anyway, the history of the company to date has been great, and I'm extremely proud to be associated with this company. So we've got all the success, things are growing great. Well, today one of the subjects is change, and so if we're doing so well, why be focused on change? And I don't need to tell you this, I'm sure you already know it, but the marketplace is very cruel. And every day, I know that our existing competitors and potential competitors are out there figuring out a way to create a better model or to do what we're doing smarter, more efficiently, at lower cost. Probably out there's some kid in a garage, who's thinking about how they're going to create Ola with drones, or who knows what the next form of transportation will be. And so standing still is really not an option. I used to be very focused on sort of this notion of continuous improvement and Lean Six Sigma or the Toyota way, and thinking that that was sort of the basis of change management, is that we just need to adopt and really get continuous improvement ingrained in the company. And now my views have changed. I think continuous improvement is necessary but not sufficient. The pace of change has picked up and is now so fast that it's just not good enough to remain a leader in an industry in today's world. And so, we really do think quite a bit about innovation and what are new ideas and what can we do that's never been thought of, and how can we be ahead with the competition with the next innovation. And it's a focus area, but it's a difficult one to build into your company. And the reason why is you can say, oh, you need to invest in change and management and innovation, but that's actually not hard. I mean, the world is awash in money that wants to invest in good ideas. And so, if we wanted to raise money to create something around innovation and change management, we could basically raise as much money as we want. Capital is not a problem. The challenge is really about people and culture, employee culture, and how do you attract, retain, incentivize the type of person who can very creatively look at problems and come up with new ideas and look at it a different way and step outside the box and find new ways to do business. And then how do you build a culture, a company culture that incentivizes it and rewards it, and also basically encourages failure, says, look, we'll try new ideas, and if they don't work, fine, we'll try something else, and actually rewards people for trying the new ideas and failing. And that's really why at Indigo, and I think at most companies who are successful at this, it involves a great deal of participation from the HR department, who has to work kind of hand in hand with the rest of the leadership of the company to do the recruiting and build the employee culture that's required for that kind of success. And today, as part of the panel, our head of HR, Mr. Raj Raghavan, is going to be part of the panel, and I urge you to ask him a lot of questions, because we're putting a lot of the weight of this challenge on him and his group to help us bring the company along, to create that kind of environment that's going to help us retain leadership. Next, just to close, I want to talk a little bit about the opportunity going forward. Yeah, Indigo's had a lot of success. Now we fly to more places with more airplanes than any other airline in India. But it's really just the beginning of our opportunity. India is the most exciting country in the world right now for aviation. The comparison I like the best, so I spent most of my career in the United States. The United States has 330 million people. If you look at the entire commercial aviation industry in the US, in round numbers, there's about 5,000 airplanes serving just commercial transportation in the US. So 5,000 airplanes for 330 million people. Well, in India, there's 1.2, 1.3 billion people, so 4 times as many. Yes, the middle class isn't as big, but it's growing very, very fast. And in India, if you add up all the airlines, including Indigo, there's between 500 and 600 airplanes in commercial aviation. So we have essentially 1/10 the number of airplanes serving 4 times as many people, 3 to 4 times as many people. So if you look at where the country needs to be in the next 10 years, the growth opportunity for aviation is just spectacular. It's spectacular. And so, well, why am I here? Because when I got a call from the founders of the company and they said, we would like you to come over and take the leadership of this company, I couldn't think of any country that would be more exciting or any company that would be more exciting in the airline industry than Indigo in India. So that's the opportunity we see ahead, and we just see fantastic potential. And I would in sort of the mode of shameless promotion, we would love to have many of you come work with us when you graduate. I think it's a great place for opportunity, and I can only imagine the great innovations that you could bring to our company. So anyway, thank you very much. That's the end of my prepared remarks.